The magnificent structure of Quintin Castle, viewed from the air, presents an imposing appearance and conveys to us some idea of the feudal power and grandeur no doubt formerly attached to this ancient stronghold. The year 1184 is given as the date of the castle being built. De Courcy, the fabled Anglo-Norman knight, was the builder. Quintin got its name from some dependent chieftain of the Savage family, whose Christian name was Quintin, which is the English form of Cooey. Some will say it was called Quintin from the Latin because it was the fifth castle De Courcy built. The castle was held first by the Savage family. When the Savages fell in hard times, the castle passed to their dependents, the Smiths. It remained in their possession for a century when it passed to the Montgomerys of Grey Abbey, then on to various owners down through the centuries. The earliest photographic records we have of the castle are from the mid-1920s, when it was owned by Louise and Magdalena King Hall, who inherited from their maiden aunt Nina. Their father was the distinguished Admiral Sir George King Hall. Writing seems to have run in the family. Louise wrote 4 romantic biographies, while Magdalena was the star of the family. In her lifetime she wrote 20 books, and her most famous book was The Life of Wicked Lady Skelton, which was made into the British 1946 award-winning film The Wicked Lady. Between 1958 and 1977, the owner was a Mr. William James Skeets Martin, a Belfast estate agent and auctioneer, a racehorse owner, and one of his horses was appropriately named Quintin Bay. It came 5th at the Grand National at Aintree, and it also went on to win the Ulster Grand National. The horse, I was told, is buried somewhere in the castle grounds. Skeets Martin died in 1976. His glamorous wife Paddy inherited the castle and the 50-acre estate, but on her death the property was willed by her late husband to the Presbyterian Church, so she couldn't sell it, and unfortunately her late husband did not leave enough money for her to maintain the estate. This led to the castle and its grounds falling into a near-state of ruin, and it would not be restored to its former glory for a further 30 years. Eventually Paddy and the Presbyterian Church came to a financial agreement. The castle was sold in 1977, the proceeds invested, and Paddy lived off the interest of the capital. The next owners, Messrs Sheridan and Kerr, turned the north wing of the castle into a private old people's home. But after a few years they got tired of it and sold it on for £85,000 to James and Betty O'Hara, who continued to run it as a nursing home, and it was James and Betty who kindly invited us round to view the castle. The pitch pine staircase leads us to a corridor which was appropriately named the Devil's Gallery. It received this name due to the 2 large wooden carvings positioned in the form of 2 devils below the ceiling. Also dominating the landing was a large portrait of the 2 beautiful Misses Kerr of Montaldo. A spiral staircase led us to a heavy oak door, which led us into a room that they called the Black Magic Room. Painted in a circle on the wooden floor can be seen large black prints of the signs of the zodiac. I like to think the creators of this room were drawn to spiritualism that was very much in vogue in those times. Mrs. Kerr, a former owner, was irreverently spoken of. Could it be she had something to do with the black magic room? For she is supposed to be the old lady ghost that haunted the castle for many a long year. Whether the cult of black magic was carried out here, we know not. But perhaps it was the ghosts of Quintin Castle who sparked off Magdalene's interest in the supernatural. But more sinister still, on the ceiling, a skylight clearly shaped in the form of a coffin. You couldn't help but feel a chill in this room. A final flight of stairs took us up to the highest point of the castle, on the corbelled and battlement parapet. If only those stone rampants could speak, what stories they could tell us. Over the centuries, seafarers passing in ships or small craft know its turrets as they pass up and down the Irish Sea. The seamen are well aware that Quintin means Quintin Point, a notorious place for shipwrecks. On the night of the 15th of January 1895, the Italian three-mast 364-ton boat Teresina of Genoa was caught by a snow blizzard and battered inshore and collided with the rocks at Millen Point, below the Norman ramparts of Quintin Castle. Within minutes of hitting the jagged rocks, she split into two and began to break up and became a total wreck. The local coastguards braved the elements and rescued Captain Mortola and 8 men, although 3 others perished in the raging sea. Millen Point was later renamed Teresina Point. By 1930, the castle was owned by Colonel Edward Kennedy. The new owner had the mistaken impression they owned all the fish in the bay around the castle. And let me tell you, he was not the only one who lived in the castle under that misapprehension. Colonel Kennedy, we are told, had a small cannon, and when the local lobster fishermen came within firing range, he often took pot shots at them. Whether he made a hit or two, it is not recorded. Our final visit to the castle was in 2014. What a transformation was beheld. In 2002, Andrew Crichton, the property multi-millionaire, purchased the property for £400,000. He proceeded to spend a further £2 million, chiefly on the interior. In 2005, it was again put in the market. This time Sean Connery showed a strong interest in it. In 2007, it was finally bought by Paul Neal for £3.5 million. Who again proceeded to spend a further £3 million on the property. Alas, he had only a few years to enjoy his stay here. His property empire collapsed and he was declared bankrupt. In 2012, NAMA repossessed the castle, and it turned out Quintin was the most expensive property it repossessed in Northern Ireland. The present owner is the Hutchinson family of Tato Crisp fame, who purchased it for the knockdown price of £1.6 million. The small bay in front of the castle was a fitting film location for a scene from the cultured phenomenon that is Game of Thrones. Here Jamie persuades Bronn to go with him to bring Marcella back to King's Landing in Season 5, Episode 2. Stokeworth. Out of 49 shooting locations throughout our province, this was the only film shoot in the Upper Ards for the series. The late Charles Brett, in his fine book Buildings of North Down, described Quintin Castle as the most romantic, delightful castle known to him in the whole of Ireland. I couldn't agree with him more.